Hi everyone, I hope you have watched the first part of my video. This is the second part of video which is very important. This is a video which will really going to change everyone's life. A life you would have never ever imagined even in a dream. As this is saying in English, it says strike when the iron is hot. The time is really right for India to strike now. As we all know, after the British left, we will really have a very tough time here, really living like a poor. And people are enough now that people wanted to change. First thing. Second thing, by opening India in 1990, India is coming up really fast. A third thing, the most important of all, is that to have a change, people change the government, BJP brought in. So the time is really right for us to strike now. If we strike and do the changes, then we don't have to look back. We'll be living a very happy and enjoyable life. Okay? So whatever the things which I wanted to say are printed in the papers, I will explain it one by one. You just have to follow it, understand it. Then once you finish watching this video, go and discuss it and Google it, find the facts and figure, then you know what I'm talking about. Some of the facts are so very hard for you to accept, but that's a fact. It's nothing but a fact. Okay? As was in the situation vary from country to country. But as far as I said earlier, some country has something, some country has something. Some country have manpower but they do not have technology. Some country have technology but do not have manpower. Some country they had everything but there's no English knowledge. But as far as India is concerned, we got everything. We got the knowledge, we got the skill, we have power, we have one of the strongest education system in the world, we have resources, we got everything. Only thing is we don't know how to work together a strike when iron is hot. Okay. So as far as India is concerned, there are 5 factors which makes a huge difference. That 5 factors what affecting India, and because of which we have so many problems like corruption, crimes, bribery, poverty, illiteracy, dowry and everything. Of which the first 2 is the government and people. People elect the people, the elected people from the government. And the people and government should work hand in hand. They are like the 2 eyes of the economy, 2 eyes of the country. If they work together with a synchronized understanding, then no way country will suffer. The country will always move ahead and people will have a good life. That's what happened back in old days. The kings were very king who always cared about his people and people living happily. So what happened when the British left in 1947? As we all know, the amount of wealth they stole from us with India, Pakistan, Bangladesh together is about 1,000 trillion pounds, of which India itself, India shall have about 700 trillion pounds. If you bring all those 700 trillion pounds plus the coin and diamond back to India, you can just eradicate the poverty and corruption, everything just like that. Okay, so when the government came to power, India was in a very bad shape. Government did a lot of things, and one of the things was, as I explained earlier, the government devalued its currency in 1960 to make India an attractive place for the business from other countries to come invest in India and increase export. But the problem with this, the people did not support the government. It's like, if I get married, I have once I get a children, once my children start going to school, I will constantly monitor him, whether he's going to school or not, how he's studying, how he's doing his class, what sort of marks or grade he's getting, and what sort of friends he got. I'll constantly monitor him until he get married. Even I may even monitor even after he's getting married, because not just because I want to control him, because I want him to get the best. I want him to be the best. I want to be the best and have a good life. The same things applies here. The people from the government, the people should work with the government. If the government promise something, if they don't work, the people has to go and question. You promised this thing, why you're not doing it? What is the reason? The people should keep the government under constant watch. But what happened in India, they are doing a strike like a price hike and all those stuff. But when it comes to things where we should actually strike, we are doing the strike for something which is not required at all. By doing so, we not only will disturbing the normal life, we are incurring further loss. As I said earlier, if the price of oil goes high, if the cost of living goes up, if the price of the gas cylinder goes up, it's not because of the government, it's because of you people. You people play an important part in running the government. Government is basically there to make the policy and implement. But you people have to take active participate in that. If you don't do so, the thing's going to be hard. That's what happened. After 1947, government came with a lot of plans. Like, I still remember when I was in college, government came up with a 5-year plan. So many 5-year plans for you to develop. And that's how we had a green revolution after the famine. We started the green revolution, which made us self-sufficient in food production. Then we started the white revolution, which made us self-sufficient in the milk production and so many things. Even in spite of not having the best technology, we forayed ourselves into space technology, and ISRO was even one of the strong contender to be the leader in the space technology. So when the government came a lot of plans, as I said, people did not actually participate. What people said, oh, you asked for the vote, this is my vote, that's it. That's your headache, we don't care. People become confined themselves to the family. My family, my kids, they're happy, I'm happy, that's it, I don't care what's going on. You know, they become like very reserved. Even though government tried a lot to develop it, but since the people did not participate, the government was lagging behind. So finally, as this thing continued, finally the time came up, the government said, look, we're doing so many things, people are not doing anything, so why should I bother? I better get the money and help my family and my future generation live happily. So that's how the corruption, the bribery came into existence. When the politicians started taking money, all the people, the power, like the local, like in the offices and the pews, all the stuff, they also started taking money. When the politician taking, why can't I get the money? So they also started taking the money. So what started by the politician, it continued by the people. So they're helping each other to develop the corruptions. So people who were not in power, who didn't have any job to do, so what they said, they into the petty crimes like pickpocketing, chain snatching, stealing from the house. When no one's there to control it, then they got bored and that thing continued. That's how all the underworld dons came into existence. And later they've been used by the politician, they become more stronger. So the politician, the local officers and normal people have to help each other to develop the corruption, crimes and everything. When this thing happened, the people sitting at home, were not in power or can't do anything, they also wanted the hand to get into wealth. The only option they can think of is marriage. That's how the dowry came into existence. They said, oh, okay, you want my son to marry your daughter? Okay, give me this much money, especially the gold. So that's how dowry came into existence. Now, if you see, instead of curbing it, one helped, other helped, the people, the government, the people in power, and the other people, they all help each other to develop the social, the social actors like the corruption, crime, bribery, murder, and dowry. They all started existing. When this thing came into existence, what happened? The poor getting poorer, the richer getting richer, and the people in the middle income like you and me started going from both apart. So that's how all those activities came into existence. So because of this, the government and people did not work together, and they gave birth to the corruption, crime, power, everything. The poverty increased, and poverty increased, with that the illiteracy increased, with that the child labor increased. All the things, it's like everything like a chain reaction. By planting one mango seed, you're getting 1,000 seed. 1,000 seed can get more 1,000 seed. But blocking one seed, you're blocking all other seeds. That's how the government and people didn't help together. That lead to many ideas like as expand corruption, crime, bribery, and everything. So if this resulted with very less money flow or money rotation in the market, because of which that affected the economy. Because what are the money we have, how the money rotation, money flow works. As a person, if I make one in any product worth 4 rupees, and I sell it to the next person, I'm selling it for 6 rupees. So the actual price is only 4, but selling it for 6 rupees, I get 2. And the next person sell it to other person, selling it for 8. The 6 becomes 8. The final, the individual like you and me, he will pay 10 rupees. So the actual price was only 4, but the 4 rupees made another 6 rupees, the 4 became 10. So that's how the economy works. When you spend 1 rupee, the 1 rupee remains 1 rupee, but in 1 rupee in turn, how many rupees it creates, that's how the economy builds up. If you spend 100 rupees, 100 rupees down the track may turn into 1,000 or 10,000, even a lakh. That's how the economy works. That's how we make same like a budget, the one you have in home. But unfortunately, because the government and people did not work together, that led to affect the economy. So because of which how money flow and money rotation affected, it became everything harder. Because of which the rupee started losing its value, started depreciating against the dollar. As I have explained earlier in my first video, where the government, the rupee was 1 rupees, $1 at 1 rupees in 1947. Then 1960, the government devalued its currency so that it could bring more foreign exchange in terms of investment and everything. But unfortunately, that thing never happened. In fact, the rupee started losing its value down, and as of 2014, the US $1 has become 60 rupees. So what are the facts and figure I'm presenting in this video is based on 2013-14 financial year end figure. So when the government people did not work together, that affected the economy, because of which our rupee lost, it became depreciated against the US. So that was the main first part where it led to the inequalities among the people. And second factor, when these three didn't work together, the other two factors, we can make a huge difference in import and export. It seems like a budget, like as I said before, my brother is getting 30,000 rupees a month salary, and if he's spending 20,000 rupees a month his salary, so he's saving 10,000 every month, that's in a year, he's saving 1,20,000. That's a saving that you can use for anything. If you want to build a house, you can put a deposit. You want to go for holidays, you can use for many number of purposes. But if that will always keep his budget under control. But if his expenses goes over the income, like the expenses become 40,000 and income is only 30,000, so you have a gap of 10,000, which is going to borrow for someone, is get into debt. And if you keep on doing that, you reach a situation, you limit from where there's no point of return, and you have no other option but to pass on that debt to his son, and his son will pass. His son is going down the track until someone along the line come up with some idea, rectify it, and put everything back in normal. That's what happened in India. India happened, if you see, as of 2014-14, our import was 450 billion US dollars, where the export is only 312 billion US dollars. If our export was more than import, our trade balance would end up in surplus. Again, that we can use this money to invest in many infrastructure and all, but unfortunately, it's the other way around. Our import was more than import. Why? Because of the exchange rate. As our exchange rate was depreciated so much, so we're spending more in importing, and we're getting less of our export because of the exchange rate, because the export rate is very important. Because of which see here, because of this, our import-export was a deficit of $130 billion because our import was more than export, so the deficit was $130 billion. And as of 2013 and 14, India's outstanding external debt was 450 billion US dollar, the money that used to buy product from other countries that we owe them. And this $450 billion is not the one government is going to do it. Doesn't matter if BJP comes in, the Congress comes in, maybe some new Aam Aadmi Party comes in, they're going to pass on to the next government and next government, this government, down the track. Someone do something and rectify it and put back in track. This video is all about how we can pay all our outstanding debt, how can you all work together and make India a richer and powerful nation. So because of our import is more than export, again because of this we lost $130 billion deficit. This deficit again resulted in less demand, less supply. Because of that they result in less demand for the rupee, because of which the rupee loss against dollar, the father of an economy. See, the people, the government, the economy, the import, export, they all help each other for the rupee to depreciate against the US dollar. Okay? And after if you look, why the import is more than the export? There's so many factors which can result in where export is less than the import. One of the biggest factors, as I said, is because of the exchange rate. Rupee was 1 US dollar was 60 rupees. So because US dollar is international currency, whatever we do, we have to buy it in US dollar. So we had to buy in US dollar, first pay the money, get the US dollar, then pay our supplier. So one is exchange rate. And second, the thing is, the two important commodities, what's the commodity we buy, that also increases our import. The two biggest commodity that increases our import more than 50% is the gold and the crude oil. In fact, if you go to the Google and do the Indian economic forums and economic times and all, the government has always been saying they want to control completely control the gold. In fact, India was importing the gold at all, then all of a sudden there was exporting. Because India was importing, that there were a lot of smugglers, a lot of people smuggling the gold into the country. So to control that, India started importing the gold. So that things keep on started it, and the government now want to control the import of gold and control the crude oil. But unfortunately, they could not do so because the demand is so high. The government has no other option but to bring gold. Okay, here I want to make a point. The consumption, the demand for the gold is indicated when the dowry came into existence, and since then it never stopped. When I got married in 2003, a gold was selling about 6,000 rupees per 10 gram. In 10 years, the gold price has gone up to 25,000 rupees per 10 gram. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable and more unfortunate thing. And the funniest part is today, more people are buying gold than ever before, and yet the demand hasn't come down. The demand is keep increasing. If the government stop the gold, stop more import the gold, a lot of illegal smuggling of gold will come into existence. Plus, the gold price will so high that will literally daytime robbery, and with that, the cost of living will go high, inflation will go, everything will be more harder and harder. In order to control that, government had no other option but to import the gold. Even the government keep on saying we want to control the import of gold, we want to reduce import of gold, but people doesn't seem to be listening what the government is saying. They didn't care. Oh, it's not my problem, I want the gold, that's it, how we do. I don't care. As of 2013-14, Indian government imported nearly 800 tons of gold, is worth $50 billion. That's, for a country like India, we don't need, because that money can be invested into many infrastructure which is lacking, like railways, like power projects, roads, transport, everything. But government could not do anything because that's what the people want. That's why I'm saying you people are responsible for whatever is happening in India today. Also, one more thing, a couple of years back, one of the Indian politicians, I believe, he said India being the biggest consumer of gold, South Africa being the biggest producer of gold, why South Africa has sent the gold to London? Because London is the world headquarters for the gold, and the gold has come from there to India, being more so expensive. When South Africa has sent the gold direct from South Africa to India, it would have been cheaper for both of us. It's a brilliant idea. Why the politician in India didn't act on this? Now with Australia too producing more gold, India can get into agreement with Australia and South Africa because he can sell us the gold. The funny part is people in Australia and South Africa working like donkeys to produce the gold. People in India working like donkeys to buy the gold. But the smart people sitting in London doing nothing, they get all the benefit. So why can India get an agreement with Australia and South Africa to supply the gold to India? Thus making India as the world headquarters for the gold. That way it can bring more jobs and more money, and it will be cheaper for everything. It's a brilliant idea. I don't know why no one ever thought of, ever acted on this. Question mark. Anyway, so our import bill is for $50 billion because our gold and crude oil. Crude was okay because unfortunately crude production India cannot do anything because we do not produce much of oil reserve. We don't have much of oil reserves. We have no other option but import. But what we can do is we can curb the import of crude oil. But unfortunately that thing is also going high and high, especially after 1990. Now with the IT boom, there's so many people are getting jobs. Now there are 2 or 3 people working in a family with a high income in the family. They all wait for three-wheeler cars. That's increasing the production of the increasing demand for the crude oil. So government too want to control the import of crude oil, but you cannot do because the demand is so high. If you don't import, the price will go so high again. Again, that will reflect the cost of living, everything go high. So government has no other option but to continue for the gold. So gold and oil, crude oil was $220 billion. Nearly 50% of our actual import is spending. These two is what controlling this in turn because of this. See, you all see, if you look, they're all working together. So gold and crude oil together, $220 billion. Those are the two biggest commodities because of which our import bill is going high. And because import is going high and the export is less, again I'll be losing money, about $138 billion a deficit. This for 2013-14 because of the exchange rate. So if you look, they're all working together for the rupee to depreciate again and again, which in turn affects our economy, everyone's life, and we have so many problems. Okay. Now, how gold and crude oil play an important role in the economy is that one is gold is not required. We just unnecessarily spending $50 billion on that just because people are stupid. They want a gold. They think by buying a gold. If you ask, they say I'm saying for my daughter's family. I'm saying for the future. But what I want to ask you all of you, if you look at the 10-year period, so you start buying the gold number one, or first year till 10 year, and after 10 years, when you sell the gold, I don't know how much profit you're going to get. Even if you get the profit is not enough to compensate the losses you incurred in the first 10 years. Losses means when you're blocking the money by buying the gold, you are not just buying the gold, you're blocking the money, sitting in the locker doing nothing, because of which the shortage of money in the market, that creates inflation and the cost of living is going high. So any sales, for example, milk, we suppose to sell at say 10 rupees, now we're selling 20 rupees. So if you look at all along, he is paying double time, 2% more price than what you should. So you compare all those things. At the end of the 10-year period, the profit what you're making out of the gold is not enough to compensate the loss you made for living for those 10 years. So the gold is unnecessary. Also because of which, also the most important of all, the dowry. God knows, we all how many of us lost our sisters, our daughters, our aunts, because of the dowry. It's those life not going to come back because of one stupid demand for the gold. The gold is, that's why I call gold is a glittering poison, and crude oil is a black poison that's killing all our lives, all our economy, our whole country. So if you look at it, 1947, the US dollar was $1 is equal to 1 rupees. And in 2014, US $1 is equal to 60 rupees. This is a very important factor. How we reach this one? Because the government, the people, the import, export, they all work together, especially the gold and crude oil. So by importing the crude oil for the gold is doing nothing. We're buying the gold in the locker, that's you blocking the money. First thing. Second thing is the crude oil, how is very important. Okay, actually when I made this statement, the crude oil was $140 a barrel. Now I think it's come down to $100. So keep it at 140 at the moment. So if the 1 barrel of crude oil is used $140, so we had to pay 140 times 60, it comes to 8,400 rupees. So just to buy a barrel of crude oil is 8,400 rupees. So then plus, by the time we import it in India, we get it refined and reach end user like you and me, the price of everything goes so high, the government should be selling around 100-150 rupees a liter. The government should actually sell a liter of petrol around 150 rupees a liter. But unfortunately it's not doing so, because if this government sells 150 rupees a liter, that's going to increase the cost of living inflation. Why? How? Because nowadays we're living in a modern economy. Everything is transportation, starting from a tiny pin to the huge cars or ships. Everything transportation. When the crude oil prices goes high, the transportation cost also goes high. And when transportation cost goes high, that into the overall production cost of the product goes high with the labor and by everything. But when everything goes high, the manufacturer passes on the cost to us, and that's how the cost of living go high, and you and me all end up in paying higher prices. So everything, that's why the crude is very important. When the prices of oil goes high, everything goes high. Same like when I was a kid, my mom used to buy a liter of milk at 1 rupees. Now, same cow, maybe it's a cow, the milk, everything the same, but a decent quality of milk costs you 30 rupees a liter. So my brother is using 2 liters a day, so he's spending 60 rupees. Down the truck, he's paying nearly 1,800 rupees just on the milk. If you look at the overall cost, the bread, oil, rice and everything, electricity, everything, then obviously his expense is more than his income. Okay? So that's all the thing. So because of the exchange rate, we're paying higher money to buy the barrel of crude oil. By the time it gets transported, get refined, which end users like you and me, the government should be selling about 150 rupees a liter of petrol. But the government is selling nearly 75 rupees because they doesn't want the people to suffer more. So the government is giving a lot of subsidies to the oil companies for them to sell at higher rate. Even if the government increases the liter of petrol by 1 rupee, suddenly there's a huge noise and people are going strike and everything. But the government cannot do anything. Government is doing whatever it can to control it, but you people are responsible for it. If people listen to the government, what the government is saying, and think about it, then you'll know what the government is doing. We would have worked accordingly, but you don't care. I don't care. I have money. I'm buying a car. I'm buying a bike. I want a gold. But you government wants to support. What the government can do? What the government can do? I have no other option but to do. So what are the money this government is getting? They're spending at this. What is the little bit money they going under the table as a corruption crime? That's how there's so many problems happening in India. And the people, the poor are getting poor, rich is getting richer, and the people in the middle income getting squashed. He's getting bombarded for all the dash, and even the God say, "Oh, you suffer." See, you're getting bombarded. The middle income people getting bombarded from all ration because you want to maintain the social status. So that's what happened. So once again I explain to you, if the barrel of crude oil is $140, 140 times 60 comes to 8,400 rupees for one barrel of crude oil, and plus importing costs, refining costs, the government should sell around 150 rupees a liter. And so because of money, government already losing the money, because to control inflation, they help the people, government selling at above 75 rupees a liter, because of which the government had to give a lot of subsidy. By giving subsidy, the government is losing money, which again affects our economy, our demand supply, the demand for the rupees, because of which the rupee get depreciated. That's how the rupee is getting depreciated, because of all, now one factor, all the factors, the people, the government, the import, the export, and this, especially the crude oil. Okay. As I said, the government is losing money. So now let's see. So that's, as I said, that's the same, because to help the people, the government is spending so much money to put oil, but it's not selling at the rate it should to maintain the profit. It's selling at a much cheaper, nearly 50% less than what it should, because with the government losing money, which affects the economy. Okay. Now before we go on to the next stage, we always comparing ourselves with China. I would love India to be move far ahead of China, but unfortunately, the tragic is we are far behind China. I will tell you in my first video one of the reasons China opened its economy way back in 1970. We did in 1990. The 2 years is a big gap. First thing. Second thing is China and the people and government are working together, and that's developing economy. But India, government and people are two separate entities. They're going two different way. So that's why there's so much problems that happen. China too, there's a problem, but compared to, they can sustain it because of the growth and everything. Unfortunately, India is two different sectors. So this have a small comparison with China and India, how hard for us China to compare to India. If you look at China, China's export is worth 2,200 billion US. Again, this is 2013-14 financial year. China's export is worth 2,200 billion US dollars, and the import is 2,000 billion US dollar. So thus, China is ended a surplus of $200 billion surplus. And look at the exchange rate of China. US $1 is equal to 6.71. If you compare this with India, look at India, US $1.60. This is the key factor. Nowhere. Again, they say China is actually devalued currency because so that it can control its currency, and at the same time we could, by devaluing currency, is making the goods are cheaper, that's increase the export. This is because it devaluing currency, it will end up losing some money in putting the goods, but because it has a control over its currency, it can always manipulate as and when it is required, and always keep the export higher than the import and keep this balance in surplus. Also, the most important fact of all, China's import-export is very strong. So don't look at this $200 billion, look at the whole figure. If you look at the whole figure of China, $2,200 billion export and import $2,000 billion, put together $4,200 billion. The $4,200 billion, that's the key factor. Because the $4,200 billion means how many jobs is going to create. It will create millions and millions of jobs. What happens when you get the job? You get a salary. When you get salary, you pay the money. When you pay the money, for example, you want a food. The food industry is going to get benefited. And you want a house to live. The construction industry is going to get benefited. You want a medical facilities. The medical industry is going to get benefited. You want a transport. The transport industry is going to get benefited. Even electronics items like TV, video, so electronics industry is going to get benefited. Need a car, the automobile industry is going to get benefited. By one person getting one job, he is indirectly benefiting so many industries. That industry in turn in other industry. That into other industry. That's how it's like a chain reaction. As I said, by planting one seed, you're giving 1,000 seed. By dropping one seed, you're not getting any seed at all. So the $4,200 billion, this is the key factor of the economy. Indian economy is about $4.9 trillion, but China's economy is $10.9 trillion. See, look at the huge gap. Because why? Because of import-export. The China's overall import-export is worth $4,200 billion. With the exchange rate is used $1 equals 6.7 yuan. With the value, if you compare to India, import is 450 billion US dollars. Export is 312 billion US dollars. Altogether, $762 billion. And exchange which is a deficit of 130 billion US dollar. China is in surplus, India is in deficit. And look at the exchange rate, use $1.60. And even if you put together import and export of India, $762 billion is not even 28% of what China has got it. So how do you expect China to compare with India? I'm sorry to be very blunt and straightforward, because I want people to understand you should have some strong base for us to compare with China. In fact, as I've said earlier, we got everything. China, India is more regularized, a democratic country. We follow the rules and regulations of the world, like the World Trade Organization, stuff like that. Where in China, there's no things like that. They don't have any corporate policy, stuff like that. And the most important, we have a knowledge of English. India is the largest English-speaking population in the world, which China does not have. In spite of having that, China is far ahead of India, because the figures, I don't have to say, the figures speaking for itself. India's import-export balance to $762 billion, that with deficit $130 billion, with exchange rate $1 equals 60. Whereas China's import is $2,000 billion, export $2,200 billion, together $4,200 billion, with exchange rate of $1 equals 6.7 yuan. This is what we have to change it. Now, how to change this figure? There are two ways to do it. One, you can devalue the rupees, thus making chips cheaper, thus you can increase the export and bring a lot of foreign exchange. Unfortunately, India cannot afford to do so, cannot afford, because our rupee is already so much depreciated, so much devalued, that we can't afford. By doing that, we spend more money in importing and very less money in exporting, which further weaken the economy. And if this thing, even as of now, if the situation continues for a few years, probably we will reach a state where there will be no point of return. So that's why this video all about. The time has come now for us to strike and work together, change everything, and make India the richest and powerful nation. So the only way India has got is increase the value of the rupees. How to increase the value of rupees? People say, okay, just go and increase the value. I wish it's easier said than done. You can do it, but it needs the tough decisions to be made by the people and with the government. The government to make, if the people and government make tough decision, we can change this factor just like that. How? The first factor. The first factor is gold. As I explained to you, people are crazy for the gold. We are unnecessarily spending $50 billion on gold just because people want it, they want to buy it. And I have explained earlier, by buying a gold, saving is not doing anything good, because that's loss. As I said, remember in the first video I said, money blocked is money lost, it can accumulate a loss. By buying the gold, the government is spending $50 billion to import the gold. That money is lost, because it's spending money on something which is not necessary. It's not necessary for the economy to run. The people buying the gold, they leave it in the locker doing nothing. If the government invests this $50 billion in infrastructure, that's going to create a job, and that job will benefit many other industry. They in turn create a job. This goes on. But because the government has no option but to spend $50 billion on gold, is not doing anything, and people are blocking them. People are also not doing this money. If the people wanted the money they have, instead of buying the gold, if they put the money in the bank, the one they're going to get interest, plus the government and the bank can give a loan to many people. They can invest in infrastructure that can going to create the job. When they create the job, we get paid. We indirectly benefit many industries. That's how the economy runs. But unfortunately, people are listening to that. They're buying the gold. They're living in the locker and they're doing nothing. So that's why the money blocked, the money lost. And as long as it's there, it's including cumulative loss. If you put the money in the bank, it's going to interest is going to make interest is going to make interest. But if you're not doing, sitting in the locker, that's why I say money blocked is money loss, including cumulative loss. That's what's happening. People are buying gold. So now the people has to make a toughest decision of their life. They say, sorry, we're not going to buy any more gold. We want the government to stop importing the gold. As soon as you say that, the government will straight away stop importing the gold. By doing so, you were saying $50 billion, straight away $50 billion, first thing. Second thing, with the crude, I said we have no option but import the crude oil, but we can reduce the import. So even if you tell the people, sorry, we're not going to buy any more vehicles, we're going to keep one vehicle per family, we're going to use a public transport system, so tell the government, okay, it is an import. So even if the government reduces the import of crude oil by $70 billion, put together, we're saving $120 billion US. Just with two commodities, but which is making a tough decision of not buying the gold, but reducing crude import, results in saving $120 billion US. So if you take the $120 billion from import of $450 billion, that comes to $330 billion. Now you'll be importing only $330 billion US. The export is $312 billion, plus if you put together 120, this comes to $332 billion. Now our export will become export plus saving will include $432 billion. So you compare with this, now our budget will result in sorry, I made a mistake here. The budget is $102 billion in surplus. See, but this making two tough decision of not buying the gold, reducing import crude oil, will result in our import-export balance sheet in surplus of $102 billion. $102 billion the government can use to repay our external debt, but then it's going to be a long way. But instead, the government can invest this money into many infrastructure which can create a job. By creating a job, you're reducing unemployment, plus the job will, as I say, by one person getting a job, the one person is going to benefit many industries. If you look at creating thousands, lakhs of jobs, how much, not really the lakh create a job, how many jobs is going to create for them the track. So by doing that, your surplus is, say, our trade surplus comes $102 billion. And the second, what is the second option? Second option is the most important of all. As we all know, we have 120 crores population, obviously about nearly 22% in the poverty line, where 18% is in the higher rich people, so there are 60% it's a middle income. The people like you and me, that is 720 crores, 720 crore people. There is some controversy, say the figure is less or more thing, but according to me, if you look at the overall, where some family have more, some family less, but if you look overall, the 60% of the population, the 720 crore of the population living in the middle income. But I want to take only 60 crore, keep the 120 crore as a plus or minus, plus some percent, minus some percent, keep it 60. The 60 crore people are living in the middle income. And if you take those people, if you take an average, in some family there are 2 kids, some family there are 3 kids, some they have 1, some they have no. So if you look on average of 3% per family, that's mother and father and son. So 60 crore keep an average of 3 per family, 60 crore people divided by 3 comes to 20 crore families. That's a 20 crore family living in the middle income. Now this 20 crore family has got 10 to 15 lakhs rupees sitting in the locker, doing nothing. Now remember, you might say, how come? That's why I say the gold. The gold, what you're buying it, saying that I want for my daughter's marriage and blah blah, whatever the reason, thousands of reasons you can give. Those money what you're buying, sitting in the locker doing nothing. Plus, some people have 2 lands, 3 lands, and other form of unnecessary things. If you go in everyone's house, there's so many things which you're buying it which are not at all using. Those are unnecessary things. So if you look overall, you keep it as fit. In some family they have more, some they have less. Again, if you look at overall, each family has got 15 lakh rupees sitting in their locker, in the bank or the house doing nothing. So that's 15 lakh rupees. So if you multiply, I say the 20 crore families times 15 lakhs, which is lying in terms of gold and cash, etc., will comes to really 20 crore family. That's 15 lakhs rupees from each one is got. It comes 30 lakh crore rupees. See, 30 lakh crore rupees sitting in each and everyone's, the people living the middle income and doing nothing. Nothing. And if we convert, if you want to look this in terms of dollar, as of today, as of today's exchange rate of 60, 30 lakh crore divided by 60, it comes to US $5 trillion. See, our whole economy, Indian economy, is 4.9 trillion dollar, but look at the amount of money is sitting in the lockers and doing nothing. It's 5 trillion US dollars. Don't forget, this is the amount. I'm just talking only lies in the middle income family. If you calculate all this money that won't be all the rich people, this it goes way over. You can't even imagine. See, so 20 crore families living in the middle income group, and you divide, each family's got about 50 lakhs sitting in the locker doing nothing. If we calculate that 20 crore family, 50 lakhs comes to 30 lakhs crore rupees sitting in the account doing nothing at all. And if you divide this by the current exchange rate of US $1 is equal to 60, it comes to $5 trillion. $5 trillion sitting in the account doing nothing. It is the same amount. It's more than what the whole of Indian economy is worth. And now people are asking, okay, we are this from what you want to do. This is what I want all of you to do. First thing I said, stop buying the gold. Don't buy the gold anymore. Now second thing is, please listen carefully, do not have a heart attack. Or what I want all of you to do, keep the barest minimum of gold. If possible, sell all the gold, put the money in the bank. So what? You're crazy? I'm not crazy. Listen to me carefully. Take out all the gold, sell the gold, put the money in the bank. But one thing, don't go and put in some stupid chit fund and things like that. If you do that, I'm not responsible for it. One of the greatest thing in India is all the banks are nationalized. So you sell the gold, put the money in the bank. But as soon as this thing comes up, our share market will zoom like anything. We'll have a record high in one day. You can gain. You can go for way over high. That itself will pump in billions of rupees, millions of lakhs, crores of rupees in our economy. That's where the circulation starts. Second thing is, as soon as this thing comes up, the gold price will drastically down. This is where I request the Indian government to buy the gold at the prevailing price. What is the last highest price? If 25,000 rupees, does the government pay 1,000 rupees extra or buy the gold? Even though the gold price may drop down to 15,000 or 10,000, but I want the government to buy, put 1,000 rupees extra, say 25,000, put 1,000 extra, buy at the rate of 26,000 rupees per 10 gram, because the people have worked so hard for the gold, and if they lose the money, that will be the most devastating for every family. We don't want them to lose the money. At the same time, we want to use the money so that we can kick off the economy. And the government have lost billions of rupees, like crores of rupees in corruption. But this what you're doing is for the good cause. So even if the market grow, let the gold may fall as much as it can, but let the government say the last highest price was 25,000, pay 1,000 rupees extra, let the government buy at the rate of 26,000 rupees per 10 gram, buy the money. But eventually the money is going to come back to the government. So let government buy this rate and let the people sell the gold, put the money in the bank. Again, one more warning, you can deposit money in the bank, but how we can do is you sell the gold and deposit the money in the bank, and you can get it as a bond certificate. So keep a bond certificate with you, so whenever you want, like your dad is getting married, go deposit the bond, get the money, collect the marriage. You don't have to keep it cash, or keep it as a bond certificate, and bond certificate can give you interest as well. So, but one thing, all the money should go to the Reserve Bank, then the Reserve Bank should equally distribute all the bank. Why? Because by doing distribute equally, all the bank have a certain reserves that can increase the credit rating in the international market. Our bank can go up to AAA for a rating, and that can make our economy more stronger, and which bring many international businessmen to come to India to start the business. So all the money should go to the bank, then the Reserve Bank should equally distribute among all the nationalized banks. Okay, as I said, whatever the money you have plus cash, everything, sell it and put it in the bank. Once you do that, now we'll ask you what are the benefits. Now start with the benefits are unlimited. This is where the revolution starts. As soon as the people and government agree, hey, that's a good idea, do it, immediately it will reflect, and our exchange rate and the rupee will start increasing value against the dollar. Even by the time this process starts, if the rupee comes to 30 rupees against a dollar, all of a sudden we'll be sitting not in $5 trillion, we'll be sitting in $10 trillion. That's equal to the Chinese economy. But by the time all the people everything goes ahead, the people sell the money, all the money will be deposited in the bank account. By the time the whole process comes, people deposit the money in the account, the whole process comes to stop, our rupee will have been so stronger. Our rupee has all the ability to overtake dollar, where 1 rupee is equal to 3, 4, 5, 10 US dollars. But at the moment, let's do not get too excited. We want to keep the rupee at around 10 rupees like China. 1 US dollar is equal to 8 to 10 rupees for the next few years. So if the rupee reaches $10, how much money will be, how much in dollars will be sitting around? This basically I'm explaining the link of the money rotation, manifold increase, this basic thing. So when the rupee reaches 10 rupees against a dollar, if we look at 30 lakh crore divided by 10, we're sitting on $30 trillion. Once again I'm telling you, this is the money we lies in the middle income. Once this thing comes up, even if all the rich people bring the money, they also put in the market, the $30 trillion, we could literally not triple, 4 times 5, we'll be sitting straight away. This is within a fraction of a moment, we'll be sitting about 150, $200 trillion. $200 trillion, that's a huge foreign reserves for us. Plus, because of this, all the black money sitting in the overseas bank, they will lose their value, so they have no other option but to bring the money back. I will tell you later, if the government goes ahead with this process, I'll tell you how to bring this money back. There also money comes to India. When it all comes to India, what happens? What are the benefits? The very first benefit I'm going to tell you, when the rupee reaches 10 rupees against a dollar, it will result in the oil prices. Moving earlier, I was telling you US 100, if one barrel of crude oil is 140 US dollars, at the rate of 60, we're paying 8,400 rupees to buy one barrel of crude oil. Now with the rupees gaining value against the dollar, it comes to 10 rupees against the dollar. That means one barrel of crude oil is now going to cost you 1,400 rupees per barrel. If one barrel is 1,400 rupees, for the same amount, 8,400 rupees, now we'll be buying 6 barrels of crude oil. Look at the huge difference. The same amount of 8,400, now we'll be buying 6 barrels of crude oil. By the time it's get imported to India, get refined, and reaches India's alike and you and me, because of the 1:1 ratio, doesn't matter how much the government can try, government would be able to sell more than 15 or 20 rupees a litre. If the government say, okay, we can sell it because we want to get all the previous losses we made, we want to get this money back, the government say, okay, fine, we'll sell 30 rupees a litre. Even if 30 rupees a litre, what impact will have on the economy? As I said earlier, when the crude prices goes high, the transportation cost goes high. When transportation cost goes high, the overall production cost of the product goes high. So that's how the price of the product increases and you end up paying more money. Now, with the oil prices selling low, like a businessman, if he at the rate of 70 before, if he's using 10 liters a day, that's 700 rupees in a month. He's paying 21,000 rupees just for the petrol. Now after this, if the repeat the government, all the production cost, everything comes down, and now the petrol is selling at 30 rupees a litre, that means in a month he'll be using only 9,000 rupees a month. That means he's saving 12,000 rupees. Now if the production cost comes down, the overall production cost of the product comes down, along with it the labor, cheap laborers and everything comes down, and the same person you and me, so all the product we're getting will be cheaper. Like the milk we're selling at 30 rupees a litre will come down to 5 or 10 rupees. Even if it tells at 10 rupees a litre, that means I'm using 2 liters a day. That means a month I'm using 600 rupees. That means instead of 1800, now I'm paying only 600 rupees on the milk. So I'm saving 1200 rupees a month just for the milk. If you calculate the rices, the pulses, the meat, the chicken, the bread, everything, if you look at overall, my brother who is gaining 30,000 rupees a month, now it doesn't matter how much you try, he is spending 10,000. Even if you want to live lavishly, he'll be spending only 15,000 rupees. So he's saving 15,000 rupees a month. That is 1,80,000 rupees in a year. 1,00,000 rupees a year. That means if you work for 30 years, he's going to save 54 lakhs rupees. That's the principle. Plus, if you invest the money, you put in the bank, you're going to interest. By 30 years, that 54 lakhs will turn into maybe 1 crore. You never know. Plus, because now everything is cheaper, you can have a very good life. The life you would never imagine. You can have a good house, beautiful house to live in, all the facilities. Your kids can go to the top schools. Every year you can go for holidays. You can have whatever you want. Also, when this thing starts up, as I said, it affects so many industries. Like I can give you one example, and this you can imagine, like Indian Railway, the largest railway network system in the world. Sorry, not the largest, but the largest empire in the world. And it's profitable, but because of bureaucracy, corruptions, and improper infrastructure and everything, it's really under pressure. If you go in the peak season, it's very hard to get a ticket because there's no proper infrastructure in it. And Indian government and the Indian Railway need at least $350 billion US, which is so much money. I say only the money from middle income families comes to $30 trillion. If all the rich people puts, the money can about, we can have about $150, $200 trillion. State okay, government say, why 350? Take $500 billion, here you go. Completely overhaul, restructure the whole Indian railway network system. By doing so, by giving $500 billion for the Indian railway system to complete restructure, look how many lakhs of jobs it's going to create. When the job created, as I said earlier, you're going to get paid money. One, the unemployment rate will come down. Second thing is you're going to get paid money, but even you get paid money, that indirectly going to benefit the agriculture industry, transport, electronics, or the medical industry, construction industry, every industry that we have day-to-day life, they benefit those things, and they in turn get more jobs, they in turn get more jobs. It's like a chain reaction, it keeps on going. So it gives so many millions of jobs. Also at the moment, if you're a person traveling from China to Delhi, Chennai to Delhi, it takes up nearly 36 hours, nearly 1.5 days. Now once we completely overhaul the Indian Railway, if we latest tracks and everything, we can run a fast train like China, maybe 350-400 kilometers an hour. By running a train of 400 kilometers an hour, between Chennai to Delhi is about 2,170 kilometers. Now the distance which has been traveled by 36 hours, now we can travel in 10 hours. Completely over this, a new track system, new signal system, whether it's local train, everything may completely air conditioned. Now people have got so much money, now you can increase a ticket, people got so much of money and everything's so cheap because of the exchange rate, people won't mind spending money to buy a good, won't mind spending extra money because then they know they're going to travel in a very comfortable train with a comfortable journey. They spend the money. So with the completely overhaul Indian railway system, you'll be running a fast train 300-400 kilometers an hour. So even if you're running a train at 300 kilometers an hour, so the distance between Chennai and Delhi, which was taking 36 hours, now can be traveled in nearly 10 hours. So even keep it 12 hours. Because some of the hilly areas where you want to go a bit slow, so keep it as 12 hours. By 12 hours, now what? For something now 36 hours, we can send the 3 services instead of 1. By running 3 services, how much passenger you're going to transport? Now roughly India's transporting nearly 20 million passengers a day. With this thing, it's completely overhauling Indian railway system, all bringing the new trains, the new tests, everything. We can at least don't want to be triple. Keep it at 1.5 times. Instead of 20 million, now we can transfer 50 million passengers a day. So when this thing happens, doesn't matter the peak season or off season, then we need rush hour because because of the faster services, the faster train, there won't be any more waiting lists or anything. People will just like the people traveling freely, as if they'd be traveling like as if they're walking to a neighbor's house and coming back. So by completely overhauling the railway system, we'll be transferring more than 50 million passengers a day. When you're transferring 50 million passengers a day, that's 1.5 times more than what you're doing. That will in turn get more jobs. When you get more jobs, you know what to do. I don't have to tell you, because that job, then that job they get paid. When they get paid, they spend the money. When they spend the money, they're going indirectly in other industry. That's one. India is really having a huge power shortage. Take another $500 billion give to power industry. Completely overhaul. Within a few years, we can be self-sufficient in power industry. Look how many the $500 billion, how much jobs it's going to create. Like this, you use the money to put in infrastructure, roads, transport, construction, IT, space, everything. When all infrastructure goes up so high, it will give you so many jobs, so many crores of jobs, that tell you there won't be any more unemployment. In fact, in spite of having 1.2 billion population, we'll be running short of manpower. India would have no other option but to get the people from other country. We were knocking the other country's door to give us a visa to go and work in their country. Now, it will be what I call reverse migration. Not only people who left India come back to India, in spite of that, India will be running so shortage of manpower, we will be getting the people, recruiting people from other countries will come and work in India. So if they all come and work in India, I say, literally there will be no more unemployment. One. When? Because now since my brother, because all these things, unemployment is gone, all the people get job. There won't be any more unemployment. When the people get a job, The government can, what the government can do, they increase the minimum salary level, because the government has so much money they can afford to do, increase the minimum salary at this level. Because once a person lives, even they say like say 20,000 per month, because everything's so cheap, you can easily save the money. With that money, now his kids does not go for work. In fact, he can send the school to school. With the government having so much money, government can say, okay, fine, from till high secondary is a free education. So all the kids will go to school. By doing so, within a few years, we want to completely eradicate the child labor. And second thing is, we will make everyone illiterate. Within few years, India will be the fully literate country in the whole world. So with that, a lot of people, with everyone achieving literacy, a lot of people becoming from the university every year. But still, there won't be any shortage of job, because there's so much of projects and infrastructure going on. There'll be plenty of jobs. As I said, even if India becomes 2 billion people, our working class increase, still there'll be so much of jobs in the market that we won't be able to fill ourselves. We'll be getting the people from other countries to come and work for us in India. So by doing so, one is the family income, as the unemployment goes up, all the people get a job, so the family can live happily. They can have they don't have to live in a rented house. They can have a own house, own good house with good, fantastic facilities. Everything is accessible. So with that, poverty, with the unemployment is gone, the poverty is gone, and the child labor is gone. With that, even the predicaments is gone. If I have a family, I don't have anything else to do, I need to feed my kids, I will do anything. Even if I have to kill someone, because I want to feed my kids. Once I get a job, do you think I will do that? Why would I risk my life? When I got a job, I get married, have a kids, enjoy my life. So when unemployment is gone, it will completely wipe out. First, it will completely wipe out the inequality among the people, because everyone's got a job, everyone's got a house, everyone's got a fantastic living. Even if a husband, even if one person family works, like in my family, my brother's family, my mother's sister, she doesn't work, but still she can stay home, manage her family and the kids, and my brother can work. Still, he's being so much, whatever he's earning is more than enough for him to have a fantastic life. Give whatever the kids they want. Sending the top class school, top class facilities, computers, whatever you want. He can just live like a king. Plus, whatever the money you save, you don't know, you can go for overseas holidays every year, because the exchange rate is so cheap. We can have a good life. We can go for holidays and fantastic life. You don't have to live like a poor anymore. You don't have to live under debt. So with when unemployment is gone, everyone's got a job, the child labor is gone, the poverty is gone, all the petty criminal, everything is gone. If everything is gone, with that, now since everyone's got everything, the corruption is gone. Why would you want to just go and ask someone to give the money when you already got so much of money left with you? Everything, all the governments, everything work perfectly. They come, do a job, go home. There won't be any more corruptions, no more crimes, no more poverty, no more child labor, and most important, no more dowry. Because now everyone's got everything, everyone is educated, and if the boys, if the boy's father comes and says, "Oh, how if you want my son to marry daughter, give me this money," he says, "Go get fat." He'll kick in us very hard, because he got everything. He can go somewhere else and give his daughter to someone else. In fact, it will turn around. The father's boys will come and go and beg the girl's father, "Please, please, please, give me your daughter to my son. You don't have to give anything. I'll send the bus and everything. Just come with your relatives. I'll do everything." It will turn around. There won't be power. There won't be more dowry, because now since everyone got everything, there will be demand for gold. So that's gone. And I can keep on going. The people who are on the farm agriculture industry, they can go back to agriculture with so much money. They can invent. We can put a lot of money in research and development, because of which you can create a new technology, new sales, where agriculture production can increase. The only biggest mistake what India did was we nationalized the bank and everything, but we did not nationalize the river. Had we nationalized the river as well, our agriculture would have been a very prosperous industry. Unfortunately, it's not, especially in Tamil Nadu. When I was a kid, there was so much of greenery. Now everyone is selling the land, converting into plant because there's no water. Because I was stupid MGR, we could not kind of stop giving water. So I really urge the government, the time has come, we all should work together, nationalize the river so all the state gets equal share and thus you all get benefited. Also, what the government can do is once this thing happens, the government can bring the manufacturing industry closer to the village. Even today I know there's so many fathers, they leave for the job before the children could wake up and they come back home when the children's already in the bed. And it's just so painful to see it. Even I grew with my mother, my dad was working in Chennai, my mom was the one looking after myself, my brother and two sisters. My dad would finish the duty on Saturday afternoon 12 o'clock, take a train, come home to a village, which is about 7 hours journey by train, stay Saturday night, stay Sunday whole day, and the evening to take a train, 6 o'clock, reach Chennai, Monday morning 6 o'clock to go for work. He lived like 25 years. We know how much we lost. Plus all this, the cursing, the things from our ladies. Why? These things all be changed one day if we do. By being in the industry, closer to the industry, people working in the industry, they can work in agriculture, and in off season they can work in the factories and what are the manufacturing industry. So that's way we can bring the agriculture as well as the manufacturing together where they can work in a synchronized way. So that's way there's a constant jobs are there. And this goes on. I don't want this thing happen. It doesn't happen. The basic thing is unemployment and equality. Once the money, as I said, the only thing has to do is what are the gold, stop buying the gold, what are the gold you have, sell the gold and put the money in the bank so the money can give the government infrastructure. Once they invest in infrastructure, they're going to create a job and that's how the money rotation comes. When this thing happens, the demand, if my brother, now if he's spending only 15,000 rupees, he got only 15,000 in his hand, now we like to spend the money. We really want a new TV. So the demand, when the demand increases, the supply increases. When the supply goes up, the price of the cost further comes down. By doing so, he'll be getting the top class quality of goods, but it's much cheaper, so he's saving a bit more. So by doing that, he's saving more the money he can put in the bank. Again, the bank's deposit increase. Again, the bank can invest in more infrastructure. So you see, it's like a circle. It's like a circle. By starting one thing that affects all other things, and they all benefit together. By curbing one thing, where before when the government people didn't work together, that gave rise to many problems. Now government and people working together, that give rise to many benefits. When this thing happened, this process won't start, this process will continue. After all these processes, if I go and tell someone to buy a gold, you'll come to kill me. You idiot, you're the one who told me to sell the gold, now we have a good life, you want to go back? That's what I want to hear. People should know what we're doing is wrong. Now you understand why you people are responsible for what's happening, because if you're just buying the gold looking at the one angle, you're not looking at the other side of the coin. This is the other side of the coin. So that's why I can keep on going. I can stand the whole day, I can stand the 12 hours, give a lecture, but this is a basic idea given you. By selling the gold, put the money in the bank, you revitalize the economy. When you revitalize the economy, our rupee gains the value against the dollar. By rupee gains the value dollar, what are the most important act, the crude oil, will come down. When the rupee they just stand against the dollar, instead of spending $450 on import, we're still importing the same amount of oil, we're still importing the same amount of gold, but our import will come to fashion of cost of $50 billion. Now, don't come and say just because everything comes down, can we go and buy the gold? Don't buy the gold. What do you want to buy the gold for? What? In fact, you buy the gold, but just keep a small amount, keep it 1 year, because you have so much of money, you don't know what to do, so keep it on money. So next year, okay, new design, sell it. Next year, keep one for 1 year, third year buy another gold. That's why the people working in the gold industry, they get the job continuously. You have new fashions, the same you're not blocking the money. In fact, whatever the money you have, after all expenses, put the money in the bank. That could in turn it could influence other industries. Plus, your money go overseas holidays. Go enjoy. Go everywhere. Go everywhere in the holidays. What do you want? See here. There's so much export in India. You can travel in India. You can go overseas, and we'll still be having so much of money that you can, like, we were poor. We know how hard it to be poor. We can other poor countries within Asia by helping the other country develop. Not only India will be the powerful nation, but helping others. We have a strong bondage, and that's why we can bring more all Asia one group. In fact, I would say we have like SAARC, which is South Asian Association of Regional Cooperation. So we can take the SAARC, put as the Asian Association Regional Cooperation Development, being all Asia as one group. We can help each other happily. By helping each other, we're gaining the respect. That's why I said when India becomes powerful, we do not want to use the power to suppress others for benefit, but we want to help them to achieve to a level where that country, the people, they can live happily. That's why we have a very good understanding, good cooperation, that we all can live happily, rather than one person, one country is happy, other country is not. That's where the problem comes in. And not only this thing, when this thing comes, and Dr. I think the Raghuraman RBI governor said he's not happy if the dollar is sitting at 60 rupees against a dollar, but he's also not happy if it comes down to 40 because he might lose export. But I don't know why he said that, because for me it's totally stupidity, because when the rupee was sitting 60 against a dollar, we're not only losing more money in import, but we're losing money in export because we're getting less money. But when the rupee becomes 10 rupees against a dollar, not only our import bill comes down drastically, we can increase export too by making it, because the overall production cost of the goods comes down, thus goods will be cheaper. Even if a little bit expensive. Remember, before government is giving a lot of subsidies to the oil companies, also they give a lot of subsidies to the farmers and everything. Now everything is turned other way around. The government there won't be any need for government to give any subsidy to farmer, because he'll be having enough money to sustain his agriculture business. Maybe if you want, you can give some loan which they can, because they're having with the modern technology, the improved way of agriculture and everything, he'll be making so much that he can pay money everything. So the government can use those subsidies which he is giving for oil companies. He can use those subsidies to the exporters. By giving subsidy, the goods price will further come down. That will make more attractive, and now we can increase the export manifold. In fact, the only thing we have to do is we should have a very strong quality control, big top class product. If we do that, all the countries around the world will come to India because of the top class quality, and we can literally snatch 40 to 50% of the export market from China. We're looking at about $800,000 billion. Now look at that, again, the money borrowing that can further fire for economy. Plus India being a democratic country, and as I said, when this thing happened, all the technical people who left India will come back to India. With them, they bring the technology skill experience, and India will be the world hub for the technology. With that, the other country won't have any other option but come to India. When they come to India, so they bring the business, so that the money comes in again. See, this thing process never stops. This goes on and on. The process will continue. When this thing cycle starts, it goes on, and after a few years, then we can let the rupee overtake, where the rupee will be the international currency, where 1 rupee is equal to maybe 4, 5, 10, 15, even 20 US dollars, and we can sit right on top, and once again make India the richest and most powerful nation on this planet. India once again will be the hub for the cultural center, knowledge center, manpower center, technology center, whatever it is. Even Israel has so much potential, but unfortunately lack of funds, they're suffering. When this thing happens, take $500 billion, come on Israel, here we go. With this much of money, they can technology fast. With all the other technical skill coming from other countries, they can join Israel, and Israel can develop just like that. And so much of technology and skill, we'll be literally launching satellites every month, not only for us, we'll be building launching satellites for other countries, thus bringing more foreign exchange. And Israel, I think at the moment is sitting about 5 billion or 50 billion, I don't know, whatever it is. India can literally grab 80-90% of this space technology. With that, this process, the overall, simple, the overall economy will really fire up and will in turn fire up everyone, and India will be the one civilized economy. As I said, when this thing happened, no corruption, no crime, no bribery, no dowry, no rapes, no inequalities, no poverty, no child labor, no malnutrition, everything will be top class. No one ever will die without the proper medical facilities. No one ever died without a food. No without any more say rape or things like that. There will be any killing, there will be any murder. Everything will be silly because now everyone has got everything. It is as simple as that. Only thing what you people have to do, as I say, stop buying the gold as of today. Whatever the gold you have, cash you have, put the cash in the bank, sell the gold, put the cash in the bank. With that, all the rich people, they also let them take the money, put it in the bank. By doing that, as I say, the whole country revitalized. Once again, it will be the richest nation, the golden bird that lays golden egg. As I said earlier, what is life? Life is nothing but a choice that you make, determine and characterizes who you are, what you are, and decide the course of future and your destiny. It was a choice that was made by our kings to forgive our enemies, what led them to keep on invading us, loaded us. The choice we made not to support or give up with the government what led us to so many problems. Now the choice we're going to make today, what is going to make India the richest, most powerful nation on this planet, will eventually have such a wonderful life that you have never imagined. I mean, this thing is going to continue until the world ends. But one more warning I'm going to give you, just because, okay, you said don't buy the gold, don't go buy too many lands. In fact, I say, we have one house per family. If you think you have 3 kids, so currently you're living in a house of 2 bedroom, now you have 3 kids, okay. But I'll sell that house, buy a new house, but have one house per family. Don't go buy for a child, kid, everything. Don't do that mistake. One house per family, one house per car, one car per family. Just because of money, don't buy that. But once, as I said, when this thing happens, everything, all the infrastructure will impact. Because since you have the money, by buying the gold, of course, because the exchange rate has come so down, we can import as much of oil we want, but we do not want the pollution too, or clog the roads. So don't buy the any more vehicles. In fact, whatever vehicles you have, sell it off. In fact, one house per family, one car per family. If you want, you can buy the pushback, because once this thing happens, all the infrastructure, the transport, everything will be so fast. You can use a public transport system. It'll be just like that. Everything will be quick. So that's why we're lessening your dependence on crude oil. You're not polluting your air, and health was a benefit for everyone. So do that. And finally, before I finish this video, I think I will explain you as much as good. I said watch this video and the first video, both the video as many times you want. Understand, go and Google it, research it, think, you know what I'm talking about. If we all work together, as I said, India, there shouldn't be any more Christian, Hindu, Muslim. We are one. 1.2 billion people be the 1.2 billion pillars. You know, that we unite India and strengthen India as a one strong and powerful nation. So one can dare come and ditch us or strike us as dictators. We'll be one powerful nation, and the spirit of caste, color, religion. In fact, we all, as I say, 1.2 billion people with one soul, one heart, one beat, and one name, citizen of India, citizen of great India. Finally, Mahakavi Bharatiya said, the day any female who can walk home in the middle of the night, without any face a day, because we got the full independence, we can make this happen if we all work together, as I explained this video. As I said, I'm living in Australia, but my service is ready for the government. If they properly call, I'll come and dedicate myself for the development of people of India and India as a whole. Okay, with that, I thank all of you for watching this video. Please, sometimes I do speak a bit fast, so that's why I'm saying watch it as many times you can, understand it, do accordingly, and take this bold decision in your life, because the decision what you're going to take is what is going to change your life and your generations to come forever. With that, I'll say goodbye, Jai Hind.